Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. I want to talk more on the way it used to be, and it's funny because it's what I want to talk on is food. Just kind of give you a little bit idea of what it used to be in the way of food and food items, stuff like that. It's funny in the house. Not only, well, my house is a little weird. Like I say, I had no mother, so it was my father, and like I say, we had a restaurant, so and it wasn't close. So what it ended up, I'd go to school in the mornings and get off in the afternoon, and he'd be going to work the whole time. And what he would do is give me money, so I would go. I went out to eat I ate at school for lunch. We did have the school lunches. A lot of people brought their sack lunches because we had a choice of sack lunches, and they would tell you what was coming up, so you know if you want to take your each week we would know what we're going to eat. And but I'd eat at school all the time for lunch, and he'd give me money so I could go have lunch or supper. And it was funny, even at that time, hamburgers were 10 cents. And I mean, you could have your hamburger, French fries, pop, and all that stuff. Less than a quarter. I know I could go out. I had a motorcycle first when I was like 12, 13 years old, and I could, with $1, man, I could go out and have a lot of fun for that $1. I say gas was running about 12 cents a gallon, and so I could get some gas. I could go to the movie. I see a movie, popcorn and pop, 25 cents. I mean, it was everything was priced reasonable. But most people, when I go to my friend's house, they didn't have pop in their house. It's funny because now when every household they got a bottle of pop in their house, or cans of pop in the refrigerator, stuff like that. We never had that stuff. I was always for special occasions, or going out to eat and stuff like that. And even going out to eat was a special occasion. I mean, now, like I say, it's the price of food has gone up so much, and people's time, they think their time is so valuable that they don't have time to fix the food, so people eat out more. The food, one thing, if you look around, you can see everybody's overweight. It's packaged food. Packaged food is okay. The reason you can package food is when it's fresh, it doesn't keep. So they do things to the food before they can package it. And the stuff they do to the food makes it so it doesn't digest properly. That's why people are overweight. They don't eat fresh food. I eat fresh food all the time, and that's why you don't see me being overweight. And that when the packaged food came in, that's when you'd see it in. I guarantee you could open up your cabinets in your house, and you could have food in there that's more than 3 or 4 days old. That means it's packaged food, because real food deteriorates in just a few days. So, and when you consume this type of food, like I say, it doesn't digest properly. So that's why there's so much in the way of health problems. It's funny because like I say, we didn't have the pop and stuff at the house. We would everything was made fresh, and that was because pretty much in the 50s, in the 60s is when things started changing, but in the 50s the wife would be preparing the food and stuff like that, and in the 60s is when things started getting a little goofy, and people would go out to eat more and use more packaged food, candy bars, potato chips, this type of stuff. See, those were all luxury items for us in the 50s. Those were luxury. We didn't have a. I mean, maybe when you have a date out once a week, that you might, have something like that. Now, more than likely, every day you probably have a candy bar, some chips, something you open the package to get to. I'm pretty sure you probably eat something like that. And so when we consumed fresh food like that, we pretty much stayed active, stayed healthy and moving around. And so, and like I say, now most of the time people would, sit around working on the computer, play their games on their telephone, or do stuff like that. And then, like I say, back in the 50s and 60s, there was more socializing. You'd be going out. I don't mean hanging around malls and stuff. Now, matter of fact, I don't even. The first mall I remember was. I got to remember, I'm a country boy too. I'm from Kansas. When I was little, I was born in Kansas up till I was in Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, up until about 16, 17 years old, and that's when the city life was a little bit too much for me, and my dad sent me down to the Kansas-Oklahoma line, in which more country folk, and I get along real good with the country folk. City folk, I don't like standing in lines and stuff. So, and well, I'll tell you, talking about standing in lines, good reason for that is, like I say, this was back in the racial days, 50s, all through the 50s and 60s, but in the racial days, I say when I was, 10, 11, 12 years old, remember I said going to the movies and stuff. Okay, there were some restaurants, some theaters that either I couldn't go to, or they wouldn't let me in, or they would have a certain area for me to be at. And it was funny because I wasn't white, so and I wasn't black, so I really had a lot of difficulties with that. So I had to ask when I go into different places. I'd have to ask if I could come in, and at that time, I say my dad was gone all the time. I never seen him at all. Just in the morning he made me breakfast, but other than that, I was asleep by the time he came home. And I would, and I mean, we're talking, I was, like I say, 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. Maybe even younger than that, maybe 9. But I'd be on my bicycle. And like I say, he pretty much gave me about $1 a day to eat and go do my stuff. And I would ride my bicycle to town. And like I say, when I go to the theater, I would have to ask them, where, if I can come in, and then if I can, where do they want me to sit? And it'd be the same thing in restaurants. And because I ate out a lot when I was a young. And like I said, I was on my bicycle. And it was at 8 or about 9, 10 years old, something like that, I really wasn't in the way of racial problems. I really didn't. I mean, it's not like anybody would abuse me and do bad things to me. Because like I say, I was just a little kid. So that, and I don't even remember, let's see, that was, 12, in the junior high is when I started having to use violence to protect myself. But so yeah, I've been 9, 10, 11 years old on the bicycle running around, and I just had to ask when I go to places, stuff like that, but nobody was abusive or anything to me. And then I would let's see, I'm trying to talk about the food. So okay, there wasn't that much in the way of there was the markets that they had fresh food. All this was fresh. So in the way of packaged food, there really wasn't that much. Let's see. Now I'm sure in the big cities, I'm sure it would be different on that, because they had to have something going on. But like I say, I remember McDonald's, when McDonald's first came out, they had potato peeling machines. They dropped the potatoes in there, and they'd be spinning them around there to peel their machines to make the French fries, because even the French fries were fresh. You know, hamburger patties were fresh. We used to make our hamburgers, and we'd use like an ice cream dipper to dip it out, and then you put it on the grill, and then you get a round flat metal with a handle on it, and then you smash it down like that, and then that's how they would make the hamburgers. So everything was made fresh. And I remember when they probably in the 60s, they started coming out, in the late 60s, they started coming out with frozen French fries, and nobody would have went, who wants frozen food? You know, that's why the first frozen TV dinners and stuff like that, they didn't go over too well, because they weren't fresh food. People wanted fresh food, and so it took time to do that. Nowadays, everybody's used to having old food, either leftover food. You know, like even McDonald's, I think now the hamburgers are already cooked, and they're not even all hamburgers, you know, but they're cooked already. All they do is warm them up. I mean, everybody's used to microwaving, warm up your food and stuff like that, so they don't even know what fresh food is all about. But, that all pretty much started in the late 60s. But just some idea what's going on in the way of food, and going from fresh food to packaged food. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.